um, I have an E30 cluster. All the gauges are out, and today I wanted to show you what is the most commonly problems that happens with these instrument cluster, specifically with the main board. When you have a good battery already and you test it with a voltmeter and tells you that your batteries are good right here, and then for me it happened that I plug in the harness at the back of uh, the, the instrument cluster and I put it on. It happens that my taco doesn't work, my fuel gauge economy doesn't work, and as well as my temperature or the cooling temperature gauge doesn't work. And what happens is, especially with this one, with the cooling temperature gauge, what happens is that every time I go over a bump or something, I just see it moving just like this, like crazy like this, moving like this, and then I'm confused. So I put on the harness on this. When I put the harness, I think this is the one that's responsible for that's coolant temperature and some other gauges too. So when I put the harness and I see it working, and then all of a sudden it stops working, it just goes down, and then I notice that when every time I move the harness, it works and it doesn't work. It works, it doesn't work. And I notice that besides that, my fuel gauge sometimes goes off. I'm pretty sure maybe the fuel gauge is maybe this one or this one. But yeah, and I noticed that this is my left turn indicator, and this is my right turn indicator, and this is my high beam. I noticed that only the left turn indicator works, but not the right and the high beam, and some other lights didn't work here as well down here. So every time I move the wire, the harness for the blue one, most of these things fix and come back, and I have to hold like this. I'm like, something's wrong with the harness, obviously, because I'm moving the harness. I thought something's wrong with the harness. So I was about to replace the harness, but then I thought about it. I'm like, can't be that. The thing was that I even put on another instrument cluster. It has the same effect. So I was really confident that it gotta be the harness. But let me tell you, all of the E30 owners, that one of the most common problems that we never check for is something you never think could be. I don't know if you can see, this is the harness, and it has pins inside. And if you look closely, I don't know if you can see it, but most of these pins, the solder break, and then you don't have a good connection. So every time you move it, the solder connects, and when you let it go, it comes off, because it's so small that it's hard to see it. Like all these solders, they're broken, most of them. And that's what happened. That's what happened exactly with me. I bring my soldering iron, and I start soldering all these things back again. All these things, I just did it once, and then I looked, my turn signal worked, my high beam started working, and then temperature gauge was fine. I was like, oh my god. Then you know what I said, let's do all of it. Maybe everything starts working back again. So I did the same thing. I did the same thing with the yellow connector and the white connector. So I started with blue, I did the yellow, and then the white one. And I noticed that was my problem. I didn't have a dead battery, because I know my battery gives me 2.97 to 3.1 volts. These two batteries are good. I didn't have to change them. And I'm telling you, most of the people think that they're this is bad or that's bad or one of these are bad, you know. They keep replacing it and it works. Usually it happens when you take it out, when you put it back. Usually the harness goes in right and it probably holds in tight there without moving at all. That's what happens. So I don't know how often these connectors or these harnesses were put on and taken off, and maybe that has affected, or over time the solder just breaks off or something. But I'm telling you, before trying anything else, before buying one of the gauges, you know, thinking that your batteries are bad, even though it's good, you know, you check it with a voltmeter, or you think your harness is bad or some electrical problem. Just we saw that all these pins, man. You saw that all these. Just put the solder on it. Make sure you put some that sticky stuff, the resin first, and you just start soldering all these back again. This one, and this one for all three plugs. And I'm pretty sure most of your problems is from this, and nobody ever knew this. I never knew it. I figured it out. Figured out it was this one, because most of the power was missing here. Power missing for this one, you know. And then when I move the wire, power comes back on. What the hell? And that's about it. Yeah, everything's good, you know. Hopefully, it's gonna be a solution to your cluster problems. Thanks for watching.